A meeting between the head of states of IGAD, where member states of the Intergovernmental Authority on Development, IGAD, have agreed to forge a joint approach to curb the spread of coronavirus disease.
Let me begin first and foremost by thanking you, Prime Minister Hamdok, for convening this meeting at this critical moment in our history.
The head of states of Kenya, Uganda, Ethiopia, Djibouti, Sudan, Somalia and South Sudan on Monday held a video conference where they discussed the challenges the region is facing in managing the global pandemic. The head of state tasked the IGAD Secretariat to urgently formulate a regional response to COVID-19 that adopts a whole-of-government approach. The leaders also agreed to intensify information sharing, including tracking of infected persons. Further, the head of states agreed to direct their relevant agencies to enhance cooperation in border control and management with a view of ensuring safety along the common borders and guarantee movement of cargo. The leaders appealed to the international community to provide support for the vulnerable groups, particularly refugees within IGAD countries, and to support national efforts to ensure that humanitarian corridors remain open. In addition, the head of states agreed to pursue joint mobilization of financial resources from international institutions and partners. They said the region needs resources to help in combating the virus as well as in mitigating the social-economical impact of the disease. The leaders also urged the private sector to contribute more to the fight against the infectious disease. To mitigate the economic impact of the pandemic, the head of state tasked regional ministers of finance to carry out a comprehensive assessment with a view of establishing an IGAD emergency fund. Further, the head of state tasked the IGAD Secretariat to formulate appropriate response programs that will be discussed by the leaders. The leaders said assessment will form the basis for joint engagement with international partners such as the World Bank, the International Monetary Fund, the African Development Bank, and the G20 for economic stimulus packages. While briefing his counterparts on the measures Kenya is taking to curtail the spread of the virus, President Uhuru Kenyatta stated the country's willingness to assist regional nations that may require its support, saying it is imperative for IGAD countries to forge a common front against the global pandemic. President Kenyatta also briefed the leaders on the outcome of a teleconference of the Bureau of the African Union Head of States and Government held on 26 March. One of the key outcomes of the meeting was the agreement to establish a continental anti-COVID-19 Africa Fund, to which members of the Bureau agreed to immediately contribute $12.5 million as seed funding. The Bureau also agreed to contribute a further $4.5 million towards boosting the capacity of the African Union Center for Disease Control. On its part, Kenya pledged to contribute $2 million and $1 million to the fund and the Africa CDC respectively. President Kenyatta reminded IGAD member states to continue the fight against desert locust invasion even as they work to curtail the spread of the coronavirus. The chairperson of IGAD, who is also the Prime Minister of Sudan, Abdullah Hamdok, President Yoweri Museveni of Uganda, President Ismail Omar Guelleh of Djibouti, the Vice President of South Sudan, Riek Machar, and the Prime Minister of Ethiopia, Abiy Ahmed, participated in the teleconference.